Hey guys, it's Konrad Bobilak here, author of Australian Property Finance Made Simple and CEO of Investors Prime Real Estate. And today's video is on how you can access off-market as the Australian investment properties that very few property investors are aware of. In fact, this market is very closely guarded and only the select few take part in this market. That's why virtually 99% of all property investors are unaware of it. But really, there's nothing special about accessing this market. You just got to know where to go and how to access it, which is exactly why I've done this video, to explain to you the benefits of using specific companies to access properties completely off market. Now, why should you listen to me about accessing properties off market? Mainly because I run a company that purely works in this area. In fact, Investors Prime Real Estate accesses properties completely off market, and I'll talk to you about what that actually means. And I'll also talk to you about mainstream real estate agencies who access off market properties as well for their clients. Bit of background about myself: I'm a real estate agent and a mortgage broker. More importantly, I'm also a very successful property investor, which is relevant for you if you're listening to this video, because I'm not a theorist, I'm not an academic. I'm actually in the market every day buying properties for myself and for my clients. I'm also the author of Australian Property Finance Made Simple, which you can buy by going to that website, Book on Finance, or Amazon, or any of the main bookshops online and bookshops in shopping centres. If there's any left, I don't think there's any left in shopping centres anymore. So let's talk about psychology first of all. If you look at your level of awareness as a property investor, a lot of people starting out in investing, they quickly learn to realize how little they know and how big the market is. And ultimately, your results as an investor are an expression of your level of awareness. And your current knowledge base as an investor is made up of different segments. There are things that you know that you know. There are things that you know that you don't know. And there are things that you don't know that you don't know. And for a lot of you listening to this video right now, off-market real estate transactions happen in this area of your knowledge base, which is stuff that you don't even know. Many people buying properties completely off market, and most people are unaware of them. Now, let's talk about the real estate industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Who are the major players? And let's talk about how traditional real estate is sold and how you can access off-market real estate. So the first thing you have is you've got different types of property listings and different types of properties. On-the-market listings are simply where the property is being actively marketed and advertised to general public, including real estate portals, emails, agencies, databases, etc. So this is how most people buy real estate. They jump onto realestate.com, a domain, they choose a property, they choose a suburb, and they buy that property. This is the main way that most real estate is sold. Number two is pre-market advanced listings. This is where one agent or an agency has been given an exclusive listing to sell a property, but the property hasn't been advertised yet. During this time prior to advertising, which is usually about 2 weeks, this is the time when the photographs are being taken and the brochures are being created and the marketing materials are being prepared. The agent may call a few shortlisted buyers or other agents to get into the property or to sell the property. Remember, real estate agents work predominantly on commission. They've got a small retainer or a base salary, and they work on commission. They make between 1%, 1.5 up to 2% commission per selling a property, depending on whether they work under a license, or whether they're a licensed agent themselves, or whether they're an agent's rep. But really, if you understand what they do, they just want to sell the property as fast as possible with the least amount of effort or fuss, which makes sense, right? Why would you want to have, if you've got a buyer ready to buy the property that you've just listed, why would you want to spend 6 weeks in that property, opening up on Saturdays, talking to hundreds of people where you might already have the buyer? So the best real estate in Melbourne gets sold by simply buyers identifying themselves to real estate agents. This is how I buy a property myself, and say, listen, I'm looking for a particular block. Let's say the last purchase for myself in Bentley. I'm looking for a 650 square metre block in Bentley with a minimum 16 metre frontage. I'm ready to buy now. Here's my card. If you find the property, you call me. Now, what I just did then puts me on top of the list. So if they list a house in Bentley that's got it's a 650 square metre block plus with a wide frontage, I'm likely to be the first people that they call. Now, if I like the block and I buy it, that property got sold completely off market. It never hit realestate.com, it never got through to the marketing stage. That's a very simple example of how properties get sold off market. Off-market listings also are transactions that occur when the property hasn't been and isn't going to be ever advertised in any way, shape or form. The vendor doesn't want the property on the market or has established a relationship with an agent who can sell the property without advertising or mainstream advertising. Why would the vendor do that? Well, there's hundreds of reasons. Number one, it could be a celebrity, okay? They don't want people to know how much their house is going to be sold for, and more importantly, they don't want hundreds of people going through their home just to check out what it looks like on the inside, okay? There's many celebrities that lived in Toorak, Hawthorn and Brighton who are very well known in the Australian media. If that they were to list their house on the market, it would make front page headlines and there'll be hundreds of people there every weekend going through, you know, Shane Warne's house to work out, oh, this is his living room, oh, look at the photos, you know, without any intention of buying the property. So a lot of private celebrities sell their properties completely off market. Another reason could be that you have, in the high-end property market, you have very private individuals who don't want their family or colleagues to know how much their house sold for. They just want to do it completely off market so people don't know that they've sold the house for $10 million or $12 million. You know, there's a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of people, for example, that are elderly and they don't want people going through their properties. You know, they want to get the property sold, but they dread the notion of, after having lived in the property for 50 years, suddenly the property being opened up for the public to go through, you know, 5-6 times on weekends and go through every single room. I mean, to most people, so a lot of people, that's unacceptable. You know, there's a lot of different reasons why that happens. So this is off-market listings. Another reason why someone would sell it off-market would be as simple as this. I know a lot of property developers in Melbourne who go to agents, identify themselves as developers and say, listen, I'm looking to develop a development in Brunswick. I'm looking for a block of land that's 1,200 square meters and I want to build 36 apartments. I'm pre-approved, I'm ready to buy, here's my card. If you find a block that fits the criteria or 2 blocks that can be combined together, you call me and I'll buy it, okay? So when the agent gets that listing, he'll immediately call the developer to get a quick sale. And that happens completely off market. There's nothing very magical about this whole thing. It's just that most people are unaware of that there's a whole market that exists in Australia where a lot of really good properties, and I would say some of the best properties, get sold completely off market. You know? So let's talk about the industry players and how you can access off-market properties, because there's different players in the industry. Some of them can give you access to off-market listings, some of them cannot. So first you've got traditional real estate agents, which is your Ray White, Hocking, Stewart, Buxton, and a lot of them do off-market sales, as I mentioned before, for the different reasons. They sell to developers, they sell people who, for different reasons, do not want their property advertised, and they don't want the public to go through their property, and they want to sell it without disclosing the price. Okay. Then you've got project marketers like Collier's, CBRE, Century 21. Generally speaking, some of these projects can be off market, but majority of these projects are not off market. And a lot of these projects, for example, with project marketers, what they do is they focus on selling one project at a time. And they'll sit there in a display suite and they'll sell, you know, 100 townhouses or 100 apartments, and they'll go through one project to another. Obviously, with traditional real estate agents, they mainly focus on the mum and dad owner-occupied market, which is the chunk of the whole market. You know, majority of the market in Australia, over 70%, is made up of houses that are purely there for people to live in. Not investment properties, just owner-occupied homes. Then you've got developers selling their own stock. Some of those developers get so big, like Central Equity, Mirvac, Sunland, where they can have internal real estate agencies who sell just purely their own stock. You know, and once again, this stock is advertised pretty much everywhere because the goal is to sell the stock, you know, as soon as possible. You also have buyers advocates in the market, like Secret Agent, Wakeland, Advantage Property Group. And buyers advocates are excellent because what they do is you pay them a fee, and then they go out and they source a property based specifically on your criteria. And because you pay them a fee and they don't get a commission from anyone else, they work purely for you. They represent your needs rather than the needs of developers or anyone else. What I do with Investors Prime Real Estate is I'm the only sourcing specialist agency that I'm aware of in Australia. And I purely focus on the Melbourne property market. And I've identified that out of the 316 suburbs that make up Melbourne, there's only about 45 suburbs that I think are worth investing in based on capital growth appreciation. And then within those 45 suburbs, I identified specific properties that outperform the rest of the market. And what I do is I contact developers, I literally cold call developers in those areas who have stock that's coming on the market, and I try to get access to their developments. So in a very simplistic example, and I'll show you some examples in a second, I will actually call up, let's say there's a developer doing a project in Hampton and it's 6 townhouses, and I know that project is just coming onto the market because I've got access to RP data and other tools, and I've identified that site's going to be 6 townhouses. I might ring up the developer, say, listen, I've got a real estate company that specialises in selling stock purely to investors. I know you've got 6 townhouses coming up in Hampton. I'm very much interested in your project. I've got 6 investors ready to buy your townhouses right now. Can we chat? And that's simply the conversation that I have. And this is how I source most of my properties. Now, I only target areas that have passed my stringent criteria, and I only target specific developments that I think represent exceptional value for money. If the same developer has a project in, for example, Melton, which is one of the worst suburbs you can invest in Melbourne, I would say, I'm not interested in Melton, thank you very much, and I won't sell that. So that's what a sourcing specialist does. We focus on suburb first and then properties within that suburb. And that's what Investors Prime Real Estate does. Why we're unique? Because as far as I know, we're the only investment sourcing specialist in the market. We invest in blue chip areas using my 46-point due diligence criteria. Now, a lot of people will email me saying, can I have your 46-point due diligence criteria? You're going to have to wait for my next book to come out, which is Australian Property Due Diligence and Research Made Simple, and then you can get the whole list there and then, because I'm putting a book together just based on that criteria. I only target in suburbs that I believe in have the best capital growth potential in Melbourne, and I only focus on specific developments in those areas. As an agent, I get paid commissions from developers, okay? But I only source projects that I believe in, that I think represent exceptional value. I won't sell in areas that I don't believe in. It's like Melton, Dockland, South Bank, any of the fringe suburbs like Trigonina, Tarneit, all those house and land estates. I just don't believe they have growth. And in fact, I can prove they haven't got any growth because I've been researching them for the last 15 years. I've got access to over 4,000 properties at the moment. As an individual, I only do 50, 75, maximum 100 transactions per year, depending on how many holidays I actually take. Sometimes I take extended holidays, sometimes I work a good year. So it varies drastically, but you can see the ratio there, 4,000 properties, and I might do 75 transactions in a year. So I'm very selective about what I shortlist for my clients. I've got access to properties that are completely off market, that will never be advertised in any way, shape or form. In fact, they'll be sold without anyone knowing them. The only people that will know about them is me, the developer, and the end buyer. I'm going to show you some examples. I negotiate very special discounts on behalf of my investors. I've done things like gifted deposit, vendor finance, things that really you as an individual investor won't have a chance of negotiating on one property. But guess what? If I'm negotiating on 12 townhouses, I've got much more leverage than someone that's negotiating on one single property. I reject 95% of all investment properties out there. In fact, most properties do not represent good investment opportunities for buy and hold long-term investors. You know, out of the 316 suburbs in Melbourne, there's only 45 worth investing in. And within those 45, there are a lot of streets and properties that just don't work. You know, most of the market isn't designed for you to get your 10, 12% growth every year. You know, it takes a lot of education and skills and a very specific methodology to understand which areas will actually appreciate in value and which ones will go backwards. You know, and the thing is, I'm an investor myself. You know, apart from the fact that I'm a real estate agent, mortgage broker, ex-banker, all that kind of stuff, that's not really that important. I look at property as a successful investor. If it doesn't fit my criteria, I reject the property. It's that simple. And I'm unbiased. I have access to thousands of properties, and I don't have any affiliation with any developer. If the area changes and I don't like the suburb anymore, I just won't source there. For example, South Yarra used to be really good 10 years ago. Now I wouldn't touch South Yarra. I think it's oversaturated with apartments, and I will simply not source any projects in there, irrespective of how good the project is, how much commission developers going to be throwing. It's all irrelevant to me. If the area doesn't fit my criteria, I don't source the area. It's that simple. Let me show you some examples of projects that are completely off market in Melbourne. This is in Wimborne Avenue in Chelsea. It's a boutique development of only 6 townhouses, prices from $645,000, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2 levels, 1-car garage, construction starting mid-2017. This is sold completely off market. You'll never see it advertised anywhere. It's walking distance to the beach. It's about 25-30 metres from the actual water on the beach side of the highway. But this is an example where you'll never see this property advertised anywhere. The only people that know about this property, and there's no boards there as well, there's no one to call and no one has this listing. So even if you go to the actual site, there's nothing there. It's just a fence-off block of land, okay? The only people that know about this property is myself, the developer, and the end buyer. And this is a perfect example of off-market listing. This is another one in Edithvale. Actually, with this example, I haven't got exclusive authority over this project. I'm actually one of many agents in the project, but it's still considered off-market. Although now it's coming up to the final stages, it is now getting mass advertising because there's only 6 townhouses left. These are excellent townhouses, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, 3 levels, some with private lifts for $709,000. Construction has commenced already and due to complete in 2017, and architecturally designed by Konrad architects. No link to myself, but they're exceptional value for the area, backing onto a park. And once again, it's one of these things that's completely off market. Here's another one in Ascot Vale. It's a boutique development of 8 townhouses, $998,000, walking distance to the river, 3 bedroom, 3.5 bathroom, 3 levels, double car garage, construction commencing in 2016. Once again, completely off market transactions. So remember, people think that if they go to realestate.com and register themselves for an investor alert, they're going to get the best properties. Okay, the properties on realestate.com and Domain are the tuna that John West already rejected. You've got to be, if you want the best tuna, guys, you've got to get up at 4 in the morning and get to the market when the ships come in. And this is the same thing with these properties. A lot of really good projects in Melbourne get sold completely off market. Most investors are completely unaware of it, especially those starting out. So this is a really cool development there. Also, what I want to do is give you a bonus just for being here and watching this video and sticking with me for the last 15 or 20 minutes. And this is a home study valued at $497. And I want to give you this home study absolutely free, and you can watch it online. And I'm going to give you this home study in a second. But first of all, I want to invite you to a live event as well. If you are interested in educating yourself and going to the next level, and look, I'm running a bunch of events in 2016 and 17 called the Real Estate Investing Fast Track Weekend, right here in our office in Alma Road in St Kilda. These are very unique events, but they're very small, intimate events. There's only 40 seats available per event. They do book out really quickly. In fact, we're starting to get a waiting list now for people to get into the next few events. There's a number of speakers at these events, and they do change from time to time. And it's really divided into 2 days. These are the speakers for the next few events. We've got an accountant, Martine from Savvy Accounting Solutions. She's a chartered accountant, property and wealth creation specialist, and she'll talk to you about how you can leverage property and structure your asset protection correctly, and whether you should be buying properties in trusts versus your own name. We've got Cameron Fisher from Changing Places Real Estate, who's one of the top property managers in Victoria, and also the director of buymyplace.com.au that recently listed on the stock exchange. Cameron's a valuer, and he's also been in real estate for over 30 years, having done over 5,000 successful auctions. Just have a think about the number for a second. 5,000 auctions. It's a lot of auctions to do. So obviously he knows the market really well. He'll give you a bit of an insight into the Melbourne property market, areas to look at, areas to avoid, and different properties to look in those areas. Stephen McClutchy from Loans Australia, possibly the best mortgage broker that I've worked with in the last 15 years. Stephen has settled over $1 billion worth of investor loans, which is quite an incredible number. Think about that for a second. 1,000 million loans for investors. You as you can appreciate, you would learn a lot over that journey over 19 years. So Stephen McClutch will be talking about how to structure your property portfolio correctly. And of course myself, I'm the main speaker for those 2 days, and I'll be educating you about everything from finance to property due diligence to wealth psychology. So once again, if you are interested, check out this website or just scroll below. There's a link for you to click and register yourself, and I hope to see you at the live event. These events do book out really quickly, as I mentioned before, and they're very small events as well. These are not events where we have 300 people. There's only 40 seats available. Day number 1 is all in the classroom. Finance. I spent about 6 hours on finance and due diligence in the first, day. And day 2 is really cool because we take you out of the classroom environment, put you on the bus, and drive you around Melbourne and show you really good suburbs and really bad areas as well to invest in if you want to lose money. Once again, if you are interested in getting my book, simply jump onto bookonfinance.com.au and you can get a copy of my book for $32.95, or jump onto Amazon or any of the major bookshops. They all carry my book. As I mentioned before, here's your special bonus, which is a home study, which is a recording of the Real Estate Investing Fast Track Weekend valued at $497. And all you got to do to access that home study is simply go to the following link. And this kind of gives you an understanding of the layout of the home study. It's very user friendly. You literally click the video, download the 265-page manual, and it's just 10 hours of education. The cool thing is there is nothing you can buy at this home study. There's no upsell. It's just pure contents, pure education. So if you are interested in accessing that, all you've got to do is go to this link here, or you can scroll down below, access the home study, and it's yours absolutely for free, no strings attached. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit about accessing off-market properties. And I hope you appreciate the fact that some of the best properties in Melbourne for investors and developers are sold completely off market. That's why the most important thing you can do for yourself if you're a developer or an aspiring property investor is to identify yourself with the right agents and make yourself known in an area in terms of what you want, how much you're willing to spend, and that you're market ready. Most people fail in investing because they sit on the computer all day looking through realestate.com and domain. If you want to be successful in property, guys, you've got to get out there onto the streets and start talking to real estate agents and start talking to people and getting to really know the area, and more importantly, identifying yourself to agents and having the ability to articulate to them exactly what property you're interested in buying. And that's the difference between successful property investors and those that go to the ultimate next level. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. This is Konrad Bobilak, and I'll see you on the inside.